1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Oops. Ooh, that was close. Hey everybody, the Reeswirl here, and welcome back to more of Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Justice for All. Okay, the trial begins. Adrian did it? That's what it looks like. Dude, no way. That woman couldn't do anything like that. In court today there will be a mountain of evidence that will implicate you. A mountain of evidence? I'm certain there is someone out there trying very hard to pin this whole thing on you. Please, Mr. Lawyer. Dude, like I said yesterday, I'm refreshing like a spring breeze, alright? I can't let any sort of scandal ruin that. I understand. Well, it's almost time. Oh! Mia! We must get a complete acquittal today. I know. I can't focus on my situation right now. Or Pearl's either. No matter what, I have to focus on winning this case by the end of the day. Indeed. Well, let's get going. Jesus. It's him! This is Wright. Good morning. This is it, Mr. Attorney, the day of the trial. Maya, she's unharmed, right? Well, when I checked on her earlier this morning, she seemed a bit, how shall we say, tired. Don't worry, people don't die that easily. Besides, what you really should be concentrating on is winning today's trial. Like how he just growls. Grrr. For myself, you must win today's trial. Which is why I sent you a little present this morning. Present? What in the world would you want to give me? You'll figure it out once the trial opens. Even if you don't like my gift. I expect you to graciously accept it and win the day's contest. If you please. Wait. Oh. The kidnapper sent me a present. Mr. Lawyer dude? Who was that? No one. It has nothing to do with you, so forget you heard anything. Dude, did your nose just get longer? Oh my god. 'Cause you're totally lying, man. Courtroom number 3! Wait, where's the prosecutor? Court is now in session for the trial of Matt on guard. Are the prosecution and defense ready? The defense is ready, Your Honor. It's not like Von Karma to not be here. Say, Mr. Wright, what happened to Miss Von Karma? I don't know, Your Honor. Why are you getting mad at me? Your Honor? Please be quiet, bailiff. Court is in session. If you must tell me something, please keep it brief. Now then, what is it? Prosecutor Von Karma has... This morning, Miss Von Karma was shot by an unknown gunman. Oh. What? Shot? Oh no. Somehow, I think this is the present that man was talking about. His present? Miss Von Karma is one of the top prosecutors in the country at the moment. If she disappeared, this would be to your advantage. But this is totally insane. Miss Von Karma, is she alright? I don't have that answer. She's alive and in stable condition. That's good. Phew! You are... I thought he'd show up. Edgeworth! Your Honor, due to the circumstances, Miss Franziska Von Karma cannot appear in court today. I, Miles Edgeworth, will be taking her place. The prosecution is ready. Naturally. Oh, nice. God, it's just like the good old days. Miss Von Karma was shot in her right shoulder. Oh my god. Shoulder. And is currently undergoing surgery. Jesus. Can't believe... Luckily, I have looked this case over and am familiar with the details. The prosecution seeks to prove the guilt of Mr. Matt Ongard. The court acknowledges the prosecution. Right. I finally found the answer I was struggling for on my long journey this past year. By the time this case comes to an end, you too will know the answer. Now then, the prosecution would like to call its first witness. Please bring Detective Gumshoe to the witness stand. It always starts with Gumshoe. Poor guy. Witness, your name and occupation. My name's Dick Gumshoe, sir. I'm a detective down at the precinct. For now. For now? After this trial's over, I'm supposed to turn in my badge, sir. Detective Gumshoe? The prosecution has no need for a depressed witness. Lift your head up and face forward like a proud officer, Detective Dick Gumshoe. Hey! Yes, sir. Now let's have your testimony. If you want to explore the various facets of this case, we must start with that. Get ready, Phoenix. This is going to be one very rough fight. Yeah, it would have to be with Edgeworth as my opponent. The answer he was struggling for. Interesting. Show me this answer you finally found, Edgeworth. Hey! Oh my god, it's like we're back in the first game! The bare facts of the case. This murder happened after the Hero of Heroes award ceremony, sir. The victim, Juan Garrido, was found dead in his hotel room. After looking into the cause of death, we believe he was definitely murdered, sir. At first, we thought there was something suspicious about the empty guitar case. However, we later found out that the guitar case had nothing to do with the murder. Huh. Okay. After the award ceremony ended, the victim was alone in his room. Yes, sir. Both the victim and the defendant went alone to their rooms. I see. Mr. Wright, you may begin your cross-examination. The only thing I could probably, or the only thing I can think of pressing on is, I think it was the third statement. Well, I mean, because these are things we knew. Like, we know he was murdered after the Hero of Heroes award. We also know that it was Juan Garrido that was found dead in his room. But this, he doesn't really give us a detailed, like, explanation into what happened. It just says he was definitely murdered. The cause of death. Wasn't that because Mr. Garrido was stabbed in the chest? Only a careless amateur would believe something so brainless as that, pal. Take a good hard look at the crime photo. Now, a real pro's attention would be drawn here, to this bandana. Banana. His bandana, sir. That's the thing wrapped tightly around his neck, sir. Oh, yes, I see. His banana-scented bandana. What? Then what about the knife? It seems to have been stuck in the victim's chest on purpose after his death. We have a crafty murderer on our hands here. Really? They killed him by a strangulation, and then stabbed his corpse? What? Okay, what did they think was suspicious with the guitar case then? Why did you think that? Because it was empty, pal. I mean, that's true. The German ninja doesn't go anywhere without his bright red guitar. We couldn't find it anywhere at the scene of the crime. Oh, then how about this theory? A fan really wanted the guitar and did the crime to get it. How's that? We thought of that too, but why is the judge giving theories? But the only fingerprints on the guitar case were the victims. Only the victims, huh? I see. So much for my theory then. I just love how the judge interjected. It's like, how about this? Try this one for size. So, we later found out that the guitar case had nothing to do with the murder. Okay. What convinced you it had nothing to do with the case? The guitar wasn't at the Gatewater Hotel that night. Well then, where was it? The bright red guitar was eventually found at the TV studio. The victim, Juan Garrido, had apparently only taken the case with him, sir. What? So you mean he forgot to put the guitar inside the case? Yes, sir. Even when he was on stage for the ceremony, he didn't have his guitar. So that guitar case was empty even before he got to the hotel. Yeah, that's right. So it really had nothing to do with the case, after all. I believe that is enough. First, the victim was choked to death with his bandana. Then, after the victim was dead, the killer deliberately stabbed him with a knife. Which brings me to my next point. Why then did the police arrest Matt Ongard? Because there was no reason... Oh, there was reason enough to suspect him. Here it comes. Looks like Edgeworth's back in full swing. Very well. Detective Gumshoe, please testify about this matter. Yes, sir. Okay. So what's his testimony? Oh, okay. Why arrest Ongard? Ongard and Wonka Reader were huge rivals with each other. They each thought the other guy was in his way. That's motive enough in my book. As for evidence, there's the Jamming Ninja's button. It was ripped off of the ninja costume and was found in Matt Ongard's hakama. The defendant's fingerprints were also all over the knife. The defendant bought the knife for the crime, which makes this a premeditated murder. He bought it. Really? So the defendant's fingerprints were found on the knife used in the stabbing. It was sort of sticky on the handle, so the fingerprints came out pretty clearly, sir. Knife added. And there's this button. That was found in the defendant's clothes, was it? And this is the button. This button is also covered in blood. Yes, and we know that the blood on it is the victim's blood, sir. What? These are pretty damning evidence. Oh dear. All of this points very clearly to the defendant, doesn't it? Yes, it most certainly does, Your Honour. Screw you, Edgeworth. Ready to give in yet, Wright? I'll find the hole in your argument somehow. You can press as hard as you'd like, just hurry up with your usual pointless questions. So much growling. Grrr. So why arrest Ongard? Okay. The only thing that's making me, like, throwing me off is the fact he said he bought the knife. He bought the knife for the crime. So if I actually check stuff, what does the knife actually say? Bears the victim's blood and Ongard's fingerprints. In the grip, Gatewater is engraved. So he didn't buy it. It was a hotel thing. Hey Thomas, how's it going? Kaboom! Yeah, slam that desk. Wait a second. What? So the basis of your argument that this was a premeditated murder is simply that my client bought a knife beforehand. That's right, pal. The defendant did not buy this knife. Oh, huh? How could they not see that? Really? It has the establishment engraved on the handle. Are they just that thick? I mean, if they didn't, or if they did notice that, it would kind of put a hole in us presenting it. So take a good look at the handle of this knife, and you'll know what I'm talking about. Huh? It has a Gatewater seal set into the handle. Gatewater? I think I've heard that name somewhere before. That's the name of the hotel. The Gatewater Hotel. Uh-oh. Gumshoe's reaction. The murder knife was actually property of the hotel, which means this murder was not premeditated. Yes, that is very true. This is a very big... Oh, great. What's Edgeworth got up his sleeve? What is it, Mr. Edgeworth? I'm sorry, but the defense is simply too careless. What? I think whether the crime was premeditated or not has already been determined. How so? I admit this knife is hotel property. There is no one currently on the police force that is dumb enough not to realise this. But I didn't... Oh. Oh, I feel so bad for Gumshoe. The question is, where did this knife come from? Why, that's obvious. It came from the victim, Mr. Karida's room. Sorry, Your Honour, but that is incorrect. Voodoo! The victim ate a last meal before he was murdered. With that being the case, I would like to draw the court's attention to what is on top of the table. Oh. I see there's a knife and a fork. There's a knife and a fork on the table. My goodness! Then, where in the world did this knife come from? If it pleases the court, I would like for us to recall the room of the defendant, Mr. Matt Ongard. Oh crap, there's a knife missing. Especially what was on top of his table. There is something missing. Perhaps it is a single knife? Oh dear, this is bad. We investigated the leftover dishes for fingerprints, and while we were investigating, we came to the conclusion that Mr. Matt Onguard's knife was missing. Mr. Onguard had gone to the victim's room with the knife he had used during dinner. Why would he carry a knife on a visit? To kill, of course. With that, I believe the prosecution has proven this was a premeditated murder. Why the hell would you want to kill someone with a blunt-ass knife anyway? Unless it was like a steak knife, then that would probably work. But if that just looks like a bog-standard, like, I was going to say kitchen knife. Cutting knife. They're blunt as shit. Amazing, Mr. Edgeworth. Absolutely brilliant. A brilliantly clear deduction. Seems like Edgeworth had this plan from the very beginning. Considering he started laughing, I would probably guess so. This must be one of those traps and I just walked headlong into it. Yep. It's usually the case. A murder weapon with fingerprints and a button from the victim's costume. There is quite a sizable amount of evidence here. I can safely say that any further deliberation is a waste of your honour's time. Although, I wouldn't mind if the defence were to present evidence not yet shown to the court. Evidence not yet shown? He means evidence that the court hasn't seen yet. In other words, new evidence. What does the defence have to say about this, Mr. Wright? Well... Phoenix? The judge is favouring the prosecution right now. If we answer with something wrong here, that gavel of his will be ringing out the sound of defeat. Or to the sound of our defeat. Mr. Wright, do you have something important and necessary to present to this court? Actually, I do. There's one piece of evidence that catches my attention. Something that this court has yet to see. Mr. Wright, I will say this one more time. I do not feel this trial needs to continue at all. However, I am giving you one chance, and only one. What the judge is saying, right, is don't try pulling one of your usual bluffs here. If I mess this up, it's curtains for all of us. Oh my god, it actually is! Oh wow! That's cool. You may now present one, and only one, piece of evidence. Now then, what is this important evidence that you must show to the court? Found next to the victim, filled with tomato juice, no sign it's been drank. Boom! This is a wine glass, is it not? Yeah, it's a wine glass, but it only has juice inside it. What? Please look at the photo of the crime scene one more time. It's the only thing that was left untouched. The scene is a mess because of the victim's struggle against his assailant. The vase was broken, his makeup is all over the floor. These were all things that were at one point sitting on the top of the dresser. Well yes, I see your point. However, this glass that is sitting on top of the dresser is mysteriously untouched. The only thing that had not fallen over along with everything else is this wine glass. This piece of evidence is more than strange enough to warrant further consideration. Great. Well, what do you all have to say? Ah, well, yes. It is a little peculiar. Yes, isn't it? I thought it was. You can stop looking at me with those puppy dog eyes of yours now. Mr. Edgeworth? What is it, Your Honour? Your opinion? You don't need my opinion. Because there is no special meaning to that glass. What? Oh my god. It's safe to say that the glass was set there after the crime took place. By the person who discovered the body. Adrian Andrews, for example. She could have easily been so shocked that she set the glass down without thinking. That does sound very plausible. Mr. Wright? Could Miss Andrews really have set that glass down without thinking? It's possible. There's no way. If I appear weak here, then the trial is over. I can look for my proof later. For now, I should trust my instinct and point with certainty. They just might fall for it, if you're thought-provoking enough. The defence would like to challenge the prosecution's theory. We would like to see something that proves it was Miss Andrews who set the cup on the table. We've turned the situation on its head yet again, as usual. Mr. Edgeworth, do you have any proof to back up your claim? There's no way he has any. He's just bluffing. Oh, he totally does. Unlike Mr. Wright, I never say anything unless I have the evidence to support it. What? That bloody smirk of his. You're not thinking hard enough today, right? Did you think this wine glass escaped my notice? Then... Of course it has been thoroughly inspected, for fingerprints. Fingerprints? There were only one set of fingerprints left on this wine glass. Let me guess. Adrian Andrews. Only one? Well, whose were they? They were not the victims nor the defendants. Rather, they were one of Adrian Andrews. Motherfuck. What? Great. That was like our only avenue. No! That is why I said that the person who had discovered the body had left it there. Are we done here, Mr. Wright? Shite. I can't believe I fell into another trap. Miss Andrews was probably holding the glass when she went to see Mr. Corrida. But upon seeing his dead body, she was stunned and set the glass down on the dresser. What you've just said makes a lot of sense. Tisk, tisk, tisk. Now do you see, Wright? You can't change any part of my scenario, as it explains everything all too well. Yeah, another one of those goes. I've thought long and hard this past year about what it means to be a prosecutor. And from here on out, I will show you the answer I have come to discover. Wait a second, Mr. Edgeworth. I think the prosecution has provided enough evidence for me to enter my verdict. I don't care. Unfortunately, I cannot allow you to pass judgment yet. The prosecution has yet another witness we would like the court to hear from. Another witness? Yes. Bailiff, please bring in the next witness. What in the world is Mr. Edgeworth thinking? I'm not sure. Who is it? Ah, fuck. Old bag! Now then, witness, please state your name and occupation. Witness! Your name and occupation, please. Oh my god, the ray gun. Gotcha. I wonder what happened to that calm composure he had earlier. Oh, edgy boy. It's been what, a year since we last met, hasn't it? You should be more happy to see me. I saw the report with her testimony, but who knew that under that helmet, it was the Wicked Witch of the witness stand. I tell you, this time I know what I'm supposed to do. So today I'm going to tell you anything and everything. Even things that don't have to do with that terrible crime. Miss Witness, that terrible crime is all this court needs to know. Oh my god, the ray gun. Shush, I'm talking to my dear Edgy Wedgie right now. Don't interrupt us, Gramps. Yes, madam. No, 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 please, by all means interrupt her, please. Anyway, witness, your testimony, please. It's true what they say that youth are hot-headed nowadays. Not that I mind at all, Edgy. Now then, what should I start with? The witness was on security detail at the hotel on the night of the murder. Is this correct, Miss Allbag? It was a great job being able to see my dearie... at one. It was almost too much for my little heart to handle. You mean, you were a fan of the victim? Look, everyone is crazy over that on guard, saying he's cute in a fresh way or something. But not me, I wouldn't say anything so silly. After all, I have no interest in a little child like him. I'm only interested in a real man, Juan Corrida. But those two were the same age. Anyway, as I was saying, why is she speaking so slowly? I was facing in front of his room that night. Very well. Please tell the court what you witnessed the night of the murder. Leave it to me, Edgy Poo. Oh my god, old bag. What a character. Anyway, after the ceremony, I went to pace around in the hallway in front of his room. There was something I was interested in finding out, you know. Well, since I was on the job, I made sure to keep a good eye out the whole time. That's when someone showed up. It was a man coming out of poor Juan's room. It was On Guard, Matt On Guard. He was trying to sneak his way out of Juan's room. Okay. So Mr. On Guard came out of the victim's room. See, it has to be him. He's the murderer. I see. Well, Mr. Wright, you may begin your cross-examination. Pace around the hallway in front of his room. That just sounds like stalking. What was she interested in finding out? Something you were interested in? And just what was that? It's not something, some little thing. I can just go around telling everyone, you know. It's top secret between me and Juan. Ah, an edgy, of course. Mr. Edgeworth, what is this thing she was interested in? I have no idea. I despise gossip, Your Honor. Gossip? Is there something to do with the case? Then you can append it to your testimony. Looks like we shouldn't force it right now. Did the witness stay in the vicinity of the victim's door the entire time? So keep an eye out. Saw a man coming out of Juan's room. It was on guard, Matt on guard. Okay. Press. You saw my client? Are you sure about that? Yes, Really? Annoying, Brett. When I say I saw someone, I saw that person. Why do I get a sense of deja vu? Maybe to avoid a mess like last year, I should delve into this a bit further. Oh, right, I see. Not the face, not what they were carrying, their clothes. Because, again, it was a samurai. They have costumes. Were they wearing a costume? Because if they were, then they could just be hiding their identity, and it would be exactly like the Steel Samurai on the first game. Yeah, their clothes. Please tell the court about the man's clothes in more detail. What a troublesome man you are, really, as if something like that matters. But it does. Now what was it? Oh yes, it was that thing. What thing? That gaudy thing he's always wearing. That racing jacket. Yeah, he was wearing that at the detention centre too. That thing's meant for nothing but seducing women out of their pantaloons. Men. Right. So, Mr. Wright, was this testimony just now important or relevant in any way? It was very important. Of course it was important, Your Honour. Then perhaps you would like to point out what part of the testimony was important. Don't you see it, Edgeworth? Your Honour, I request what the witness said about the jacket be appended to her testimony. I don't quite see where you're going with this, but alright, witness, please. Oh well, I don't like to badmouth anyone without reason, but if I must. He was wearing his flashy racing jacket. Honestly, it's all just for show. Oh, right, now I've only just spotted the contradiction. Yes, it's to do with the button. Because if you go on the button, it was found in On-Guard's Hakama. If he was just wearing his racing jacket, that would not have got caught in his costume. Objection! So you're wrong, bitch. Miss Oldbag? What? Don't say my name for no reason. Do you know what this is? It's button number 2 on the Jammin' Ninja's costume. Now I know she's an obsessed fan. She identified it in a single glance. Give it here, give it here! If you don't give it to me, I'll punish you with this. Oh my god. Wow. She really is a die-hard fan to want a button covered in blood. This button was discovered on Mr. On-Guard's body during a full-body search. See? See? This button proves beyond a shadow of a doubt it was that rascal On-Guard. It was caught up in the pleats of his Nickel Samurai Hakama pants. See? See? And On-Guard is the Nickel Samurai. Yeah, I don't think she's understanding. Witness? Now, it may just be me, and I do have an active imagination, but just now, didn't you say that the defendant, Matt On-Guard, was wearing his usual racing jacket? Oh, she put her helmet back on. I'm so sorry. So that you judge people based on what they wear. If I wore the... Oh, no, never mind. I was gonna try read it, but I didn't realise she was going on a rant. What the heck? What the fuck? Now hold your tongue still there for 1 second. So what you saw in actuality was not Mr. On-Guard, the man. It was the Nickel Samurai. but Mr. On Guard the Nickel Samurai. When you think about it... I love this song too much. They're really one and the same anyway. Incorrect. Miss Oldbag, this is a very important point we're talking about. Edgy Poo, do you think so too? Well, it might be something worth thinking about. Just say it's important and agree with me for a change. Witness, think carefully and try to remember as much as you can before you testify. Ah, alright, if you insist. I should be the one sighing, not you. Whew! Oldbag just makes things a right pain in the ass. Who I saw. Oh, God, okay. On guard. On guard. Yes, now I remember. The Nickel Samurai, that's right, it was a Nickel Samurai that I saw. Yes, it would have been convenient for him to wear his costume during the murder. He had to go to that post-ceremony stage show right after the crime, you know. So he must have worn the Nickel Samurai costume when he was stabbing poor Juan. Juan. I knew it. It's just like the Steel Samurai. I knew you'd say he was inside that costume. What? Did you think there could have been someone else inside that costume? Don't be a bad little boy, thinking such rude things. But the possibility does exist. Ah, young'uns today, I told you, there is no way it was anyone else. How do you know that? Because I said so. And what I say is the truth. At least she's just as delightful a witness as she was a year ago. Mr. Wright, you may cross-examine the witness. Oh my god. Jesus. Who I saw. Be a little more careful with your testimony, please. Not too long ago, you said he was wearing his racing jacket, and now he's not. Not too long ago? Now let me ask you this. When you were itty-bitty, what was your grand dream? Huh? What did you want to be when you grew up, whippersnapper? My dream, huh? Well, I, wanted to be Judge Wagner, hero of the public's court. So what? See? Look at where you are now, you're not Judge Wagner, are you? Are you? Well, what I said earlier. Who puts any weight into things like that? The now is everything. I can't be held responsible for the past. Since when did court become theatrics over testimonies? All that matters is that man was inside that costume, isn't that enough? Jesus, that was worth it. Oh yeah. He must have worn that Nickel Samurai costume when he was stabbing poor Juan, but he couldn't have. Because his fingerprints are all over the knife. Objection! Man! Please, take a look at this. Yeah, so it's a knife. Big deal. If you try to scare me with that, I'll have you know it won't work. No, that's not my intention at all. That's the knife that was used in the murder, correct? Your Honor, do you know why this piece of evidence is important to this case? You don't even have to ask. It's because the defendant's fingerprints are on it. Hey, there we go. Is that what you're driving at? That is exactly what I'm driving at. What are we driving at? And whose car are we driving? Oh my god, the judge. If Mr. On Guard was really in the Nickel Samurai costume at the time of the murder, then it's impossible for his fingerprints to have been left on the knife. On this knife, even. I mean, I get the feeling Edgeworth is going to say, but that's not true, because it could have been the knife he was using to eat, in which case he would have left his fingerprints all over it when he was eating. Like, you don't just magically leave fingerprints when you're murdering someone. Actually, he would have wiped all previous fingerprints on this knife right off. I suppose. Oh, that's right, the Nickel Samurai wears gloves, doesn't he? He probably took his gloves off before he began the stabbing. Why would he do that? And why would he do something like that? To leave his prints on the murder weapon? There's no way he would do something like that. However, there is one possibility. Then let's hear your possibility. It's very simple. The defendant went to the victim's room while in costume as a Nickel Samurai. At the time, or that time, the defendant held no intent of murder, or to murder. He was probably just going to relax and talk with the victim about the stage show. Which is why he took his gloves off. But the murder still did take place. It's well known that the defendant and the victim had bad blood between them. Yes. I've heard of that. Well, Mr. Wright, what do you have to say about Mr. Edgeworth's theory? So let me get this straight. Edgeworth's theory goes like this. When the defendant went to the victim's room, he had no intentions of killing him. Now, up to this point, are there any problems with this theory? No problems, think about it one more time. Contradiction? Probably a contradiction. This theory. Oh, it was premeditated. Okay, I've just realised. As soon as he said it, I was like, why is it contradictory? But yeah, because they said earlier that it was a premeditated murder. This theory contradicts something in an earlier testimony. But what are you babbling about? Now, for argument's sake, let's suppose Mr. Ongard was the killer. If that's the case, I think it's impossible for the killer to have gone to the victim's room without intent. The knife! This knife, this was used by Mr. Ongard at dinner. Yes, we did establish that. Which means that if my client was in fact the killer, then he brought this knife with him when he went to visit Mr. Karida. I suppose. However, you just said it yourself. At that time, the defendant held no intent to murder. If that were true, then why would he bring a knife? He wouldn't, would he? How many times am I going to slam the desk? Which means, Mr. Edgeworth, your theory was flawed from supposition 1. Oh! And one more thing. If the murderer was wearing the costume at the time of the murder, then there should be glove marks left on the knife. Which means the defendant's fingerprints shouldn't be all over it like bees on a hive. Oh! And that brings me to my final point. This knife was planted by the real killer to hide their identity and mislead us. Order, order! Order, I say. Order in the court. Was this knife really planted by the killer? Why would the murderer do such a thing? To frame Matt Ongard. It's to frame my client, Mr. Ongard, of course. To frame... Oh god. Aren't you forcing the interpretation just a little too hard on this one? But we just established that the witness saw the Nickel Samurai in costume. And if that were true, then there shouldn't be a single fingerprint on this knife. Ooh! Witness! Looks like I've made your life a teeny bit more difficult. Huh, edgy. Witness, did you or did you not really see the Nickel Samurai? Well, I guess at first I might have forgotten, but... Are you saying you mixed up Mr. Ongard with the Nickel Samurai, his character on TV? But I mean, I can't really do anything about that. Look, I was waiting around in front of their doors because, well, I wasn't waiting around for the Nickel Samurai, that's for sure. Okay. She wasn't waiting for the Nickel Samurai. Alright then, who were you waiting around for then? That's top secret to anyone outside of security. I have a feeling that you were waiting for Mr. Karida. Am I correct, witness? The way you think, you were a sad amateur with a terrible case of nearsightedness. Amateur? Me? What am I an amateur of? So Oldbag was waiting around in front of the victim's room, but it doesn't sound like she was waiting to catch a glimpse of Mr. Karida. Maybe, Phoenix, maybe the Oldbag was waiting around for that person. If it's who I think Mia's hinting at, it's certainly possible. Miss Oldbag, you were waiting for this person to come out of the victim's room, weren't you? Oh, Andrew! Zzz. Yeah. So, who is this person? This is Adrian Andrews, Mr. Ongard's manager. But why would the defendant's manager be in the victim's room? It seems that this is the latest rumour in circulation, Your Honour. Oh, this is... well, this is... Ah, I see. The judge seems to be really into the article, if it can be called such a thing. Then this manager with the initials AA, are you saying it's... Adrian Andrews? Without a doubt, the witness thought so as well. Looks like you found me out. Well, that's fine, I can throw away this whole sworn to confidentiality stuff. A witness? What in the world are you... Watch out, Phoenix. I've got a bad feeling about this. A very bad feeling. I got some information. Some very secret information from a certain source. Oh god, I wish I could not yawn when I'm reading, or when I'm playing these games. It makes it seem like I'm bored of them, but it's just the fact that I'm reading so damn much. So that's why I was doing my own little investigation. In secret, of course. But what for? Oh, just for myself. Personal reasons and all that. Well, Mr. Edgeworth, how will you proceed from here? I really don't want to do this, however I cannot simply let this point slide. I see. Very well then. Witness, please testify about this secret information. Get ready! It's gonna take the wind out of you young'uns. I'm sure we're all capable of handling this. Really. It's not like we're 10-year-olds. Or 10 years old. Secret info! The On-Guard is one evil man. He thought he could ruin Park 1 by causing a huge scandal. So to do that, he sent his own manager to get in close with 1. I cannot condone such dirty tricks, so I took action. Oh, and this is top secret, you got that? Nobody else but you and me know yet, okay? Okay. The defendant sent his manager. What a distasteful topic for this court. What? Nobody's above gossip. And isn't there a saying? The truth is never pleasant. Never heard that one before. Mr. Edgeworth, what about this Adrian Andrews person? We have looked into this matter, and found that the truth the article proposes is in fact baseless gossip. But should this be true, then this proves that the defendant did bear ill will toward the victim. So this means I have to go to smash this rumour once and for all. Now then, Mr. Wright, you may cross-examine the witness. Be careful, the old bag seems rather excited right now. That's right, On-Guard is nothing but your average foul-blooded youth. Well, as the old saying goes, you've got to burn old bags with fire. Time to fire up the afterburners and hit the highway to the danger zone. What? Oh my god, that was weird, but also great. Right, so he's an evil man. Yes. How did you find out this information? Wait. Just a gosh darn minute. Well, I'm a busy woman, tea time with the kids is over. Secret information that no one else knows yet. If that's true, then how do you know this secret information? Huh? Well, that's because I'm a pro. Yes, that's it. It's a secret. Even if you drill a hole into my brain, you'll never find out. How in the world did that old bat get such a secret piece of information? I think I know. So no one else is supposed to know this secret information, correct? If that's true, why do you know it, Miss Oldbag? Why are you looking at me like that? Stop that. Witness. I'm sad to say it, but this is how you found out the secret, isn't it? The camera! Yeah, tabloid. Wait, stolen on the night of the murder. Tabloid article about the victim was in this case. Or in the case. Investigative photographer, a lot of heart. Oh yes, I remember that mischievous girl. She reported that she had lost a certain note she had written to herself. She reported such a thing? Oh yeah, it was with her camera. I'd forgotten about that. On that piece of paper, she had written down some of her, impressions about the relationship between the victim and Miss Andrews. What? Outrageous ideas, you say? Ooh. No, I said impressions. Then everything written on this piece of paper is completely meaningless. Bum bum bum. Ah, that's it. That's the note. Oh. No, you see, this is something completely different. This is my top secret list of groceries to buy. Yeah, sure. Then you are the one who took Miss Hart's note. I'm a huge fan of Juan's, that's why. That infamous puffy-head whippersnapper. She's working with that evil On-Guard. She said so herself. On-Guard, I'm his sidekick. She was so happy, smiling like a silly duck. I was only checking that what she had written. Nothing but triple dots. Edgy Poo, you believe me, don't you? Look how she turns to him. every time. And he's just like, oh god, leave me alone. I was only trying to help out like the angel I am. It's only one little piece of paper. I've never taken anything else before. You really should come with a supply of cheese to match your vintage wine. Oh my god. Well, it was only a piece of paper. I suppose we can overlook this just this once. She looks like she's really sorry. Should I forgive her? No, pile on more pressure. If I let up on her now, she'll get away. I have to find some way to inflict a deafening blow to the prosecution. Oh yeah. Witness! You said that the only thing you stole was that note. Is this correct? Stole? Why don't you listen more carefully, you annoying brat? I saved this piece of paper from the terrible, lonely trash can, that's all. You're lying, damn it, and I can prove it. Are you putting my credibility under scrutiny again? Miss Oldbag? I don't believe that the note is the only thing you stole that night. Can I present that again? Oh my god, I just realised how I'm an idiot, god. Yes, tabloid article about the victim was in the case. The camera case! When I read that, I was like, oh, it's with the case, as in, like, you know, case 4, which we are on. I'm such a fucking idiot. Right, yeah, okay. Oh, it didn't click at all. Miss Oldbag. That note was with a camera, inside its case, wasn't it? That camera? Yesterday, Lotta Hart was raising a huge stink over her camera. She kept saying something like, my sweetie, $1,600 camera disappeared on me. Why, witness. What is it, Gramps? If you have the note, then it is only logical that you have the camera too. Looks like you found me out again, Sonny. Is this the camera you're looking for? Ah, that's... What, even though I look like this, I'm still a person, you know? I still eat meals like you, I fall in love and borrow things from people. I think your definition of borrow is a little off. I saw that woman's business card and that's when I noticed... Oh, noticed it said, Slimebag Celebrity Photographer Extraordinaire. Well, when I saw that, I had to know what sort of picture she had taken. I'm a professional security guard. It's my business to know these things. My goodness. Bailiff, check this camera's photos. Hurry. We must examine them at once. Oh, to be continued? Oh, no. I'm surprised. Well, Mr. Edgeworth, what do we have? There's only one photo that seems to be relevant to this case. Please present it to the court. Ooh, okay. This is the Nickel Samurai. See, I told you. That's the guy I saw. This proves that the witness was not lying earlier about this matter. Lotta's photo added to the court record. What does all this mean, Mr. Edgeworth? This photo by itself does not prove that the person in it is the defendant. However, in his own confession, Mr. Ongard clearly stated that at the time of the murder, he was still in his Nickel Samurai costume. If that is the case, then this Nickel Samurai is the defendant. How did it come to this? I think this brings us to the end. We have examined every piece of evidence thoroughly. Final comments, Mr. Wright? The court will consider them before we close. Do you agree that this photo is decisive evidence against your client? If this photo really is decisive, then we're done. Not done for. If I raise an objection here and blow it, then I would put Maya's life in jeopardy. I can't make a mistake here. There is only one road out of this mess. This photo that Lotta took. There is something strange with it, and it's to do with the feet. It looks like the costume doesn't even fit, which is a bit weird. There's something strange with this photo. I knew this was coming. Right. Your thoughts, Mr. Edgeworth? I think we can all agree there is nothing strange with this photo. There is no way for the defense to debunk this photo even with a bunker buster. Debunk with a bunker buster. Is that what you're planning to do, Mr. Wright? Yes. Anyway, please look at the photo one more time. If you really believe you can honestly find something wrong with this photo, then you should only need one chance, correct? Well, I have to find something wrong with this photo. I can't let this chance go by. When the heck did you take this picture anyway? It's all out of focus. Why can't she take a good shot, especially when it counts? Now then, let's hear your objection. Oh wow, it is one chance. God, we have so many of these. What about this photo is strange? Their feet. I would like to direct the court's attention to this one area right here. What are you pointing to? His ankles? If you could see this person's ankle, that would be one thing. However, you can't. And what does that mean? The Nickel Samurai in this photo could not have been Mr. Ongard. What is the meaning of this? Okay, having this song played during a court proceeding is incredible. It's really cool. I wonder if you would care to elaborate with actual facts, that is. Let's take a look at the Nickel Samurai's poster. There we go. Please pay particular attention to the area around the bottom of the hakama. His socks. You can see his socks. My God. Exactly, however, in this photo, you can't. The Nickel Samurai is clearly holding his hakama up just to walk. There's only one explanation for this. The person inside this costume is clearly much shorter than the defendant. Alright, I think I've turned things around for myself this time. That's curious. Huh? What is? Edgeworth is unusually calm today. That's true. He's just letting the trial run itself, as if he's only along for the ride. Along for the ride? What do you mean by that? I can only think that perhaps he doesn't feel under attack at all. He doesn't feel under attack. Then he's not taking any damage? Mr. Edgeworth, where does this leave us? If the person in this photo is not Matt Ongard, then everything the prosecution has tried to prove has become meaningless. I thought it would come to this. What? Right, I have something I want to ask you. I think you have proven that the person inside this costume is not Matt Ongard. In that case, who is this a photo of? Who is the person wearing the Nickel Samurai costume? Don't stress out over this, Phoenix. It's very simple. What you should be focused on is Edgeworth's attitude, don't you think? Yeah, why is he so calm? Mr. Wright, let's hear your thoughts. Who is the person in this photograph? Oh, can only be one person. It's Von Karma! No, it's Adrian Andrews, of course. Adrian Andrews. If you want to know who that Nickel Samurai is, it is none other than this woman. And why would you say it would be Miss Andrews? What in the world points you to her? For starters, she's short, but she can freely move in and out of Mr. Ongard's room. Finally, she had dinner with Mr. Ongard that night. And how does that all add up? It means that it makes it very easy for her to get a certain item. The knife. A certain knife with Mr. Ongard's fingerprints all over it. The knife that was used as a murder weapon. Why don't you just say what it is you want, right? I have to do this now. This is my last chance to turn things around. The defense motions to indict Miss Adrian Andrews in the murder of Juan Garrido. It was Miss Andrews who tried to frame the defendant for the crime. Order, order, order! It looks like this trial has hit a most unexpected development. Mr. Edgeworth? Yes, Your Honour? This court is issuing a... I have no idea how you say that. Subpoena? For Miss Adrian Andrews. A verdict cannot be passed without first hearing her testimony. Alright, this is it. This is kind of bad for us. Huh? What do you mean? If Adrian Andrews is summoned to court as a witness, it means that the trial will go on for another day. One more day. Oh no! If I don't get a verdict today, then my, Now then, we shall set Miss Andrews' testimony for tomorrow. What am I supposed to do? The judge is about to adjourn the court. I don't know. object, I guess. That's the only thing I can think to do. Now then. Please, Your Honor, continue the trial. You must pass a verdict today. I can't do that. We cannot hear Miss Andrews' testimony if she is not. Oh. Now you're poor wasting such valuable time. Edgeworth? Your Honor, I request that you please continue with today's trial. But we cannot continue due to this unexpected development. Tisk tisk, unexpected development. I think you underestimated me, Your Honor. What do you mean by that? That Mr. Phoenix Wright would slave his way to that. Miss Adrian Andrews is all happening according to plan, even if Wright was a bit slow to catch on. What? Wait, he had this plan from the beginning? Huh? Dun, dun. What is the meaning of your statement, Mr. Edgeworth? Miss Adrian Andrews is currently waiting in the prosecution lobby. Oh. She is the next witness. Everything was planned out in advance by that man. Somehow I knew there was no way Edgeworth would overlook Miss Andrews. Looks like this battle is far from over. Exactly. Very well. We will call the next witness. However, before we proceed, we shall take a 10-minute recess. Please prepare your witness in that time, Mr. Edgeworth. The court will now take a 10-minute recess. Oh man, end of chapter. There we go. God, that was actually probably the longest trial. I think so. Actually no, I'm pretty sure there's been ones that have gone for over an hour. But, yeah, that was 57 minutes. Damn. Oh my god, that took like 4 hours. Jesus. Dude, I can't believe I don't want to give him a stoner voice. I can't believe that Adrian. No way. Not cool. Not cool and collected Adrian Andrews. She's your manager. It would have been very easy for her to pull this off. The only person who had easy access to the knife you used at dinner was, well, her. So after the ceremony, during the break, huh? I was sleeping like a log the entire time. See, she could have also easily planted that blood-covered button in your Hakama. Because she was the one that came to wake me up. Then, dude, you're saying it really was her? Yes, she is the real killer. She was the one who murdered Juan Carita. But why? I thought she was buds with Juan. She has her own agenda. Her own agenda? What are you talking about? I'm sure you'll see by the time this trial's over. It'll be alright. I'll get you acquitted by the end of today. Give me a verdict that's refreshing like a spring breeze, okay, Mr. Lawyer Dude? Phoenix, you think her motive is related to Celeste Impax's missing suicide note? Yes. Miss Andrews depended on Miss Impax for her strength and will to live. But then Miss Impax suddenly killed herself. It sounds like she left a suicide note and the person thought to have hidden it is Juan Carita, the victim of this murder. And that's why I think that Miss Andrews got close to Mr. Carita, all to get the suicide note back. That sounds plausible, but one thing bothers me. What? Who was it that first told us about their relationship? Better stated, Mr. Andrews... Mr. Wait, Mr. Andrews? I'm confused. Was that meant to be Mrs.? Codependency with regards to Miss Impax. I'm confused. It was Edgeworth. Looks like he's still the one in command of this ship. Don't let your guard down yet. Ah. No, I'm still confused. It said Mr. Andrews. It must have... Maybe it was a typo. I mean, on a keyboard, R and S are very close together. But I don't really know. Do-do, Scooby-Doo-Doo. Call now reconvene. Now then, Mr. Edgeworth, if you please. The prosecution calls a witness, whatever that word is, by this court. Miss Adrian Andrews, the person who discovered the crime in Mr. Juan Carita's room. Yeah, it must have been Miss Andrews, not Mr. That's when I got it just threw me off. I'm like, wait, there's a Mr. Andrews too? What is your occupation? I'm the manager of the defendant in this case, Mr. Matt Ongard. I see. Now then. Before we begin, Your Honor, I have one request. Yeah, sure. What is it? I'm sure everyone in this room is wondering the same thing, and would love to find out more about my relationship with the victim. After all, it was the topic of a certain weekly magazine, recently. No, I have no idea what you mean. I've never even heard of Gossipland. If the judge was ever a prosecution witness, he'd do all my work for me. Anyway, I was wondering if you could please tell us about your relation to the victim. Yes, I was seeing Mr. Corrida. I was also aware of the rivalry that existed between Matt and Juan. But this was a private matter between Juan and myself. So it was a fry and bait matter, or was that bait and fry? Reminds me of fishing. But I didn't kill him. No one has accused you of that. I've got a feeling someone will soon. Don't know what you're talking about. I think we all understand your relationship with the victim now, Miss Andrews. Very well then. Witness, please testify to the court about what happened when you discovered the murder had taken place. Or was it about what she did when she found out the murder had taken place? I didn't really read that correctly. When I found the body! She's still playing with that card. It was time for the show to start, so I went to get Matt from his room. After that, I went to Juan's room. And there was his dead body. I was in shock. I placed down that tomato juice. What I saw was naturally the exact same scene as in the crime scene photo. I felt as though I was about to faint, so I poured myself a glass of juice. Yep, sure. You poured yourself a glass of juice. Yes, sadly I didn't remember not to touch things at the scene of a crime. And I disturbed the crime scene by moving this one thing. And that is when the fingerprints on the wine glass were made, Your Honor. I see. Well, Mr. Wright, you may cross-examine the witness. Phoenix, she is one cool and collected customer, and she has the brains to match. Yeah, I know. In order to catch a person like her, you have to avoid head-on confrontations. You should disrupt her pace. Disrupt her pace? She's the type of woman who is easily thrown off by things inconsistent with her thinking, so you have to attack when she least expects it. The instant you let up on your offense is the instant that this trial is over, understand? Okay. You were in shock? What, was I not supposed to be? Miss Andrews is a very calculating person. And despite how close they were, I doubt she had romantic feelings for Mr. Corrida. Anyone randomly stumbling upon a dead body would be in shock, and you can't seriously expect that a young beauty like her would not be shocked. Somehow, I don't think beauty has anything to do with being shocked or not. I see. Yes. Naturally, the same scene in the crime scene photo. Still don't get that. I poured myself a glass of juice. Just when I see a dead body, do you know what I think? I'd love some OJ. Juice. Yes, there was a bottle of tomato juice on the table. Who the fuck would drink that anyway? Tomato juice. I don't think I've ever had it, but I can't imagine it being that nice. Tomatoes can be quite nice, but it's not something I drink. So I helped myself. But you didn't drink any of it, did you? Huh? There were no lip marks left on this wine glass to suggest that anyone drank from it. Oh, I wasn't feeling terribly great, so I set the glass down without drinking it. Miss Andrews, I would like to confirm with you one more time. When you discovered the dead body of Juan Corrida, you were in great shock. And that's when you poured yourself a glass of juice, correct? And what of it? My mind really was a complete blank at the time. Your mind was a complete blank? I didn't think that was possible for you. Aren't you rude today? I was so dazed that I made one careless mistake. That's one thing. Oh, that one thing. What one thing? Never mind. It's no big deal. What was she starting to say just now? Press further. Miss Andrews. I'm convinced that, as you said, you made a mistake at the scene of the crime. What I really want to know is what this mistake was. Actually, so would I. I'm sorry. It's kind of embarrassing. When I set the glass down on the dresser, I accidentally knocked the flower vase over. That was her doing? Oh, look how she stood. Calm and collected. Flower vase? Are you talking about the one on the floor in the crime photo? This mess of glass shards? It was originally on top of the dresser. When I bumped into it with my elbow, it fell onto the guitar case. Why did you withhold such an important piece of information? I'm sorry. I thought that since the crime scene was already in disarray, that people would simply assume the vase was just another part of the mess. It looks like yet another fact has come to light here. Please add this and anything else you have to reveal to your testimony. I'm sorry, but I have nothing more to add. I didn't touch anything else. I was the one who knocked the flower vase over where it fell onto the guitar case. Can I present the guitar case? Empty, there is some water, but only on top of the lid bears Karita's fingerprints. I suppose that wouldn't bear anything else, would it? I'm not entirely sure. I'll just go with it. I wasn't sure if I should do that or the one where she said what she saw was what was in the crime scene photo. So it's whatever. You testified that you knocked the flower vase over. Is this correct? Yes. And are you sure it fell onto the guitar case? Is there some problem with what I said? The fact that it was open? It's not some problem, it's a major problem. It's true that the top of the guitar case was wet with water. However, that's exactly what is so strange. Miss Andrews, you testified that the vase fell onto the guitar case. Oh, also that, yeah. If it fell onto it, it would have been soaked. However, only the tip was covered. There we go. If that was true, the case should have gotten wet on the inside, not the outside. That's very true. Furthermore, there is one other strange thing about the guitar case. And what is that? It's missing a guitar! Let's take another look at the crime scene photo. Is it the fact it's open? Oh, and they're not even in there. They're not... They're all on the floor. The remains of the vase are scattered on the floor. What is wrong with that? If the guitar case was open when the vase fell, the pieces would be inside the vase. Yeah, would be inside the case. The glass shards should be inside the case. Not outside. I just completely rearranged that sentence, but whatever. Ah! What is your point, Wright? That the case was closed at the time the vase was knocked over? Is that all? Objection! Hot damn. Now, thinking back to what Miss Andrews testified to. She said that, other than the vase, she didn't touch anything else. Yes, that's right. She did it implicitly say she didn't touch the guitar case. But this whole matter with the guitar case is a dead end. The bright red guitar was found at the studio. It has no bearing on this case at all. That may very well be, however, an empty guitar case does seem to have no relation to this case. Seems that there is no deeper meaning to the guitar case. Well, Mr. Wright, do you think we need to hear more details about the guitar case? Make her testify or let her be. Make her testify. The empty guitar case. Guitar case. I believe this is a crucial piece of the puzzle. Huh. I can't believe anyone would reach for straws like this, but it is you. Can't believe I'm doing this either. Alright, I'll follow along. For now. Miss Andrews, please testify to the court about the guitar case. Yes, Your Honour. Oh my god, we're making her testify about something stupid. Testify about the colour of the walls! The guitar case! I don't remember too clearly because I was a bit dazed. I suppose I must have opened the guitar case, after I knocked the vase over. It's not a big deal though, right? The case was empty after all. As for why I opened the case, even I don't know. Wow, great, cool. Jesus. Looks like this really wasn't a very important point. This wastefulness is such a familiar feeling by now, it's almost comforting. Anyway, I'll just go ahead and start the cross-examination. Using any way to change the topic, a convenient escape for a weak man. Wow, Edgeworth, you're really going for the fucking throat. The guitar case. I mean, I know exactly what I'm going to present, and I know what I'm going to present it on. I suppose I must have opened the guitar case, but you didn't! There were no fingerprints of yours! There is no... God, hiccups. There is no way you were the one who opened the guitar case. Why would you say that? It's elementary, my dear. Because the only fingerprints on this guitar case are those of the victim. Ah! I do like that. Elementary, my dear. What is it, Miss Andrews? You shouldn't assume that I must have left prints just because I touched the case. What do you mean? What if I were to tell you that I was wearing gloves at the time? Gloves? But why would you be wearing gloves at the time? It was the night of the award ceremony, so of course I dressed up for the occasion. Yes, no one remember. I'm almost sure I was wearing a pair of thin gloves. I see. Well, Mr. Wright, it seems the witness was wearing gloves at the scene of the crime. That is strange, because if she was wearing gloves, why would there be fingerprints on the glass? Strange. You were wearing gloves. Isn't that a little strange? Why is that strange? Do you have something that would prove I was not wearing gloves at the time? I do indeed. Elementary, my dear. I have your proof right here. This wine glass. The wine glass? You left your fingerprints very clearly on this wine glass. Oh. Even if you took your gloves off when you poured yourself this glass of juice, wouldn't you think it was just a little strange that you put your gloves back on just to open the guitar case? Oh! Oh my god, we broke her glasses! Oh, she has multiple pairs. Isn't that useful? Order, order, order! Looks like you hit the nail on the head this time. What do you mean? I believe that guitar case plays a very important role here. It's just an empty case. I wonder if it really was empty, though. But the bright red guitar was at the studio. Phoenix, drop all of your presumptions. What was in the guitar case was not the bright red guitar. You don't mean it was a bright white guitar? Wait, that's not right either. I admit it would be unnatural for someone to do that. So the witness was not wearing gloves despite the fact that on the case... What the fuck? Your Honour, this is obviously the defence's usual misdirection tactic at work. Steer the court towards an unrelated topic and lull us into his misguided... into his misguided objection. No, Your Honour. Please recall that Miss Andrews had testified that the vase fell onto the guitar case, which means that the case was closed when the crime took place. However, it is wide open in this photo of the crime scene. I'm sure this guitar case has some relation to the murder. Jesus. If you are so sure, Wright, then I'm sure you can somehow substantiate your outrageous claim, correct? Please, enlighten us as to why that guitar case has anything at all to do with the murder. Can you do that, Mr. Wright? Well, let's suppose for a second that the bright red guitar was not the only thing that could have been in the case. The bright red guitar not being the only thing? You don't mean to suggest that a bright black guitar was... Oh my god. So you intend to push your theory that the case was not empty. Is that it, right? I wouldn't say something I didn't intend to prove. Deflate that head of yours, you haven't proven anything yet. Now then, let's have it. What was inside this case at the time of the murder? The Nickel Samurai! Actually, it could have been. It could have been another costume, because we know that On Guard was wearing one when he was asleep. She wouldn't have stripped him down. This is a photograph. Yes, but what is important is what is in that picture, Your Honor. In this picture? It doesn't take a genius to see what I mean. What I am proposing is... inside the guitar case was his Nickel Samurai, the hero's very own costume. What? Yeah, we got this music back. Woohoo! Mr. Wright, explain yourself. Right, are you saying that the witness opened the guitar case to take out a costume? What insane point would there be to doing something like that? That insane point would be to wear the costume, of course. Miss Andrews put it on to hide her identity so she could make her escape. After all, you couldn't let anyone see you leave, could you, Miss Andrews? I refuse to accept your theory. Do you have anything to support such a preposterous idea? Just outside the door was an investigative photographer who was starving for a big scoop. And in the end, she managed to get this shot correct. You mean this photo? Ah, nice. Order, order! It looks like we've wandered into quite another mess again, haven't we? Nice job, Phoenix. Well, you know my strategy. Speak first, think later. So the real murderer was hiding inside a costume. Well, wait 1 second, Your Honor. The Nickel Samurai's costume would have been Mr. Matt Onguard's. What would something of the defendant's be in the victim's room? Or why? And inside the guitar case of all places. True. That is a little baffling. Mr. Wright, the court would like to hear your thoughts. What was this Nickel Samurai costume doing inside the guitar case? Oh my god. It was stolen from him? I really want to go for that because I have a feeling it'll be funny. I'll risk the penalty, I don't care. I think it may have been stolen from Mr. Onguard. Stolen? But why would someone do such a thing? Maybe the thief wanted to interfere with the post-ceremony stage show. And so, if he didn't have his costume, then Mr. Onguard would be forced to go naked. Oh my god. Whoa, what? Maybe you should be stripped naked and run out for making a mockery of this court. Excuse me? Mr. Matt Onguard did not take his costume off after the award ceremony. He even testified that he took a nap while sitting wearing his costume. Is this not correct? Ah, yeah, he did say something like that, didn't he? That's what I thought. Worth it, I don't care. That was hilarious. Let's try that one more time, shall we, Wright? Mr. Wright, the court would like to hear your thoughts. It was a spare! Mr. Onguard did not take his costume off during the break period. In that case, the costume we are talking about was a spare one. What? Then, are you saying that on the night of the murder, there were 2 Nickel Samurai costumes at the Gatewater Hotel? Indeed, indeed. Yes, that is what I am saying. And how do you explain the costume that was inside the guitar case? It would mean that the victim himself had planned to bring this spare to the ceremony. But why? The victim, Mr. Kurita, was the jamming ninja. Why would he secretly bring the Nickel Samurai spare costume with him? I don't know, man. What could be the reason behind such a peculiar act? Ah, so that's what he intended. Or what? What are you mumbling to yourself about now? Have you just been rambling all this time without any sense of inner monologue? Huh? No, I just... Mr. Wright, please explain yourself. Why do you think the victim had the Nickel Samurai spare costume? Phoenix, are you sure you can explain this one? Think carefully before you answer. And then answer with gusto. I believe in you. Alright, this is what I think. The reason the victim brought the Nickel Samurai spare costume to the hotel was... Oh, he was gonna... That was it. He was gonna confess something. What is this? On the night of the murder, after the stage show, the Nickel Samurai was going to hold a special press conference. A press conference? Yes, the Nickel Samurai was supposed to confess something at this conference. I heard about this as well. For once, you're not making something up, right? But what struck me as strange was that Mr. Ongard himself said he had no idea he was supposed to be holding a press conference that night. But how can that be? The way I see it, that can mean only one thing. The conference was set up by none other than the victim, Mr. Wonka Reader himself. The victim? Yes. The spare Nickel Samurai costume was prepared for that very conference. Mr. Karita was going to hold the press conference as the Nickel Samurai. He was going to dress up as a Nickel Samurai and hold a conference? But why would the victim do such a thing? That's something I don't quite know yet. However, what I am concerned with right now is what he intended to reveal at that conference. The Nickel Samurai was going to confess something. And by confess, I'd wager he was going to reveal something about himself. Which means that Wonka Reader, posing as a Nickel Samurai, was going to speak about Matt Ongard. Yeah, I guess that is what it would mean. But if that's the case, that's not a confession, that's public disclosure. Okay. Miss Andrews? I can see why you were pros at what you do. Pardon me? Yes, just as you say, the press conference was set up by one. Oh! Miss Andrews, please offer us an explanation for this. I was the one he asked to help set it up. And the person who prepared the second costume for him. That was also me. You? One had bet everything on the German Ninja this year. And if he lost the Grand Prix, he was going to make sure Matt was going down with him. That's what he thought, anyway. He was going to ruin him? Huh? It looked like somehow one had in his hands a secret so powerful that it would destroy Matt's acting career had it been revealed. What? Oh, damn. Well, what do you know about... and do you know what the secret of Mr. Ongard's is, Miss Andrews? She probably does. That's something only one knew. I don't know what it is. I see. I have probably been coming off as quite suspicious to everyone, but that's to be expected. I've been trying to protect Matt, after all. Protect Mr. Ongard? And yet again another strange bit of truth comes to light, it seems. Miss Andrews, if you could, please tell us the truth about your behaviour. Yes, Your Honour. I understand. Huh, I don't. Protecting Matt. From the moment I saw the crime scene, I had a feeling that Matt was the murderer. It's a very bizarre thing to say. Matt had to kill one no matter what. He didn't have an alibi for what he was doing at the time of the murder. My thoughts were confirmed by the evidence, of course, the button and the knife. But I'm Matt's manager, so I felt that I had to protect him. This does account for everything. Well, I am the logical type. We're finally seeing her true self. She is more nervous than a scared rabbit. If there are no objections, I feel I can pass a verdict based on this testimony. Now then, Mr. Wright, if you please. Looks like somehow everything has swung to the opposite end of the scale again. That just means I have to put my weight into this, and turn her logic upside down. Yay! So, from the moment she saw the body, she knew it was Matt. That just seems odd. Would you say that was your intuition speaking to you? Don't confuse my methods of reasoning with your own. Oof. If you want to prove that someone did something, you need 3 things. 3 things? A motive, decisive evidence. I don't know what the other would be. Opportunity? Or chance to commit it? A motive? Oh. An opportunity to commit the crime, and finally, decisive evidence. If you think these 3 things through, the answer becomes quite clear. You should have already known that, Phoenix. They didn't teach that to us in school, at least not from what I remember. May I continue now? Oh, so that was actually pointless. The button and the knife. You'd hardly call the knife decisive evidence. The fingerprints on the knife could very well be be a clever camouflage. Then, what about the button? The button? It's clear from the crime scene that the victim and the murderer fought. And during the fight, the killer ripped the button from the German ninja's costume. You're talking about this button, correct? That button was found in the pleats of Matt's hakama, isn't that correct? I would think that makes it very decisive evidence. Looks like you were outfoxed again, Mr. Wright. Anyway, the knife doesn't prove a thing. Please fix your testimony. I can't stand the sight of a man who can't gracefully accept his defeat. Thank goodness me, he can still look at me. With an icy stare, yes. Miss Andrews, for Mr. Wright's sake, please add this information to your testimony. That button was torn off of one during his fight with Matt. They didn't fight. He was strangled. Yeah, strangled with a scarf, then stabbed with a knife. Objection! So there was no fight. He died. He was already dead when he was stabbed. This is the victim's autopsy report. It clearly states that the cause of death was strangulation by a scarf. Strangulation? The knife stab to the victim was done after the victim had already died. And what does that mean? Let's examine the evidence. This button has the victim's blood on it. Oh god. Which would mean that it was ripped off of the costume. When? After the knife was stabbed into the victim. Exactly. Which means... Oh, it could have actually just been used as a way of framing. It is impossible that this button was torn off during the victim's final struggle. Because the victim was strangled to death in that fight. Oh, snap. Bum bum bum. Baba. That's right, Miss Andrews. There is no way this button was ripped off during the struggle. This button was consciously pulled off of the victim's already dead body. Damn. Pretty grisly, to be fair. Whoa, whoa, whoa. What's the meaning of this, Wright? So what if the button was torn off the body after the victim had already died? What does that change? Let me ask you one simple question, Mr. Edgeworth. Why was the button torn off? What purpose did that serve? What purpose? We now know this button was not torn off during the fight. So the murderer took the time and effort to purposely rip this from the victim's body. That would mean that the murderer had something in mind, wouldn't it? Mr. Wright, does this mean you know what the murderer wanted to do with this button? What was it? Memento, crime on guard. There we go. There's only one logical reason for doing something like that. It was to pin the crime on Mr. On Guard. There is no way anyone would put a bloodied button in their own pants. That's right, Mr. On Guard was set up. By the real killer, of course. Oh ho! We're getting somewhere. And the real murderer is... Well, Mr. Wright, who in the world is the real murderer? Real killer, then? Finally. I can't believe I managed to bring this trial all the way up to this point. Phoenix, you can't let your guard down yet. Not until the very end. The real killer, the person who planned to frame Mr. On Guard, is... the witness! I almost did Celeste Impacts. Miss Adrian Andrews, I choose you! You are Mr. Karida's killer. What? That's another pair of glasses we've smashed. Damn! Order, order, order! Mr. Wright, it's a very grave matter. Do you have any evidence that supports your charge? Any evidence? All of the evidence points to Miss Andrews. How preposterous! You can't stick any of that on me. I can't, can I? Would you care to test me? Then what about this knife? The knife was used to stab the victim after he'd already been strangled to death. It was used to throw suspicion onto Mr. On Guard, naturally. A knife covered in the defendant's fingerprints could only be taken from his room. and the only one who had dinner with him and knew which night to take was you. Oh my god, that's 3 pairs. Then, what about the button that was found in Matt's Hakama? This button was removed from the victim's body after he had already died. The only people who could have done so was the person who found his body, or the killer. However, if Mr. Ongard was the real killer, there is no way he would have put such incriminating evidence in his own Hakama. 4 pairs? She's gonna be running out of glasses soon. Sheesh. The only person who could have put this button into Mr. Ongard's Hakama is the person who went to wake him from his nap, which is you yet again, Miss Andrews. I see. What about the empty guitar case? There's also another piece of evidence that incriminates Miss Andrews. Oh. That costume was used to hide the real killer's identity as they fled the crime scene. Now, who could have known that there was just such a costume inside the guitar case? It would only have been the person who prepared the costume for the victim. And that person is you, Miss Adrian Andrews. No, But Miss Andrews' fingerprints were nowhere to be found on the guitar case. And it was you who proved that she was not wearing gloves at the time. That's right. That's because she did not intend on leaving any prints. If anyone had found out that she had touched the case, they would have asked her why. So to avoid leaving any prints, she used a towel or something else to open it. But the glass of tomato juice is a different story. Miss Andrews purposefully left her fingerprints on the glass to show that yes, indeed, she was the classic dazed discoverer of a dead body. Oh, I got 5 pairs. And to top it all off, there is this photo. Yeah, where it doesn't quite fit. A photo of the killer as they exited the scene of the crime. No reasonable person on Earth can believe this nickel samurai is Mr. Ongard. He would be much too short for his own costume if it was him. Speaking of how tall people are, Miss Andrews, you're all also kind of short in stature, are you not? But please, stop. Well, how about it, Miss Andrews? I've got her this time. Miss Andrews? I refuse to testify. What was that? There's a law. It says I can't be forced to testify about something if it can incriminate me. Oh. Well, yes. You are absolutely correct, Miss Andrews. The law does provide us with a way to avoid self-incrimination, by allowing a witness to not testify if the testimony can cause damage to themselves. What? Pleading the fifth is not something most people would think to do on the spot. Actually, thinking back to yesterday in Mr. Ongard's room... Adrian Andrews. Yes? Think hard about what we just discussed, understood? Alright. That's it. That's when Franziska planted this idea into her head. She must have told Miss Andrews to not testify if things looked bad. Did a good job proving everything up to this point, Phoenix. But there is still one thing you haven't yet done, or haven't done. Something I haven't done? Oh my god, Edgeworth. Don't laugh. What's wrong, Wright? Are you finished already? Run out of evidence? What is so humorous, Mr. Edgeworth? I'm sure you realise this as well, Your Honour. But everything the good lawyer here has proven up to this point is meaningless. What? Everything you have proven is circumstantial. Circumstantial? Yes, circumstantial. You have yet to provide a single piece of definitive proof. Proof that Miss Andrews did in fact harbour a wish to murder Mr. Corrida. Okay. But Miss Andrews, did you want to kill Mr. Corrida? I believe this may lead to me incriminating myself, so I will abstain from answering. But Miss Andrews, if you do that, it would be the same as admitting your guilt, don't you think? Maybe so, or maybe not. There is nothing to prove it either way. Besides, you don't even know what crime I would be guilty of due to my silence. No, she's taking that defiant attitude again. Mia, what should we do? Somehow we've landed in the worst possible situation. Great. I think we have reached a certain conclusion at this point in time. Miss Adrian Andrews has refused to testify, and the defence's theory that she is the actual murderer has not been fully substantiated with solid definitive proof. But that's not true. In this situation, there is only one thing this court can do, and that is to declare a recess. Recess? I request that both the prosecution and the defense look further into this matter, and at tomorrow's trial... Ah, fuck. Tomorrow? But I can't. We don't have a tomorrow. If we don't get a not guilty verdict today, then... Please wait, Your Honor. That's not necessary. The trial, please continue the trial. What are you sweating for? Your client is getting one more day to live, isn't he? That's not it. This isn't about that. Edgeworth, I know you know who the real killer is. Please, let the trial continue. If I don't get the verdict, then my, Oh. But it's impossible to continue as long as the witness refuses to testify. Or the witness refuses to testify. Now then, this court is... It is not impossible for this trial to continue. Mr. Edgeworth, what are you... It's true Miss Andrews holds the right against self-incrimination. However, if the topic of conversation was something unrelated to whatever she may be guilty of, then she has no right to withhold testimony. Yes, that is very true, but... Actually, there is one little thing that I'm curious about. Miss Andrews, when you found the victim's dead body, you poured yourself a glass of juice. Yes, and... I can't help but think how unnatural that is. Usually when one finds a body, they are shaken up, not stirring a glass of juice. So my actions were unusual, but I've already... Before you speak, I want to state that if you have a reason behind your actions, I would like you to testify to that effect. Testify? Your Honor, I would like to request that the witness testify again, as to what happened when she first discovered the victim's body. Whatever we find out in this testimony should in no way implicate the witness. Ah! So Edgeworth has caught on, I suppose. I don't know what it is about Edgeworth today, but I can't get a good read off of him. Is he friend or foe? I just don't know. The court acknowledges the prosecution's request. Miss Andrews, if you please. She probably doesn't want to, but whatever. That glass of juice, I didn't really pour it for myself. I was surprised when I walked into the room and saw it in that messy state. And Juan, he was sitting slumped over and tired looking in the corner. When I saw him sitting like that, the thought that he was dead didn't cross my mind. To be honest, I thought he had just fainted or something. So I went to pour him some juice. When I realised that he was dead, that's when I knocked the flower vase over. So you poured that glass of juice for the victim. Why didn't you say so in your earlier testimony? I didn't think I needed to include something so trivial. Phoenix, please be careful here. If you can't find anything wrong with this testimony, then there's nothing left. I know. Edgeworth, what the heck is going on in that brain of yours? Now then, Mr. Wright, you may begin your cross-examination. Again! Bum 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 bum. When I found the body. Only thing I could think is that how would she think he was just tired? Or whatever, because he had a knife sticking out of his body. Yeah, when I saw him sitting like that, thought he was dead didn't cross her mind. Objection! You sure? I mean, look at this. So you honestly didn't think he was dead when you found him? No, not at all. Even though this is what you saw when you discovered the body? Yeah, a knife sticking out of him. What is the meaning of this? Isn't it obvious, Your Honor? There's a knife sticking straight out of Mr. Carida's chest. Anyone who saw this scene would have immediately thought that here was a dead man. That's... well, you see... I doubt a single person in the world would mistake this for someone who fainted, and then so nonchalantly go pour something to drink. Your point is... Miss Andrews, your testimony just now It was all one giant lie. Oh, that's 6 pairs. And your lie has proven one thing very clearly. That you are the real killer. Damn. No! I like how it goes from caps to smaller letters. Damn. It looks like the defense has somehow brought the ugly truth to light. The defendant, Mr. Matt Ongard, is not guilty after all. But that's impossible. You're wrong. Miss Andrews, try to have some composure. It wasn't me. It wasn't me, I tell you. It was Matt, I swear it. He's the one who killed Juan. But you were the one who refused to testify, and your reason for not doing so was that you might end up incriminating yourself. That's because... Miss Andrews, I will give you one last chance. What exactly are you hiding that may incriminate you? I refuse to testify. Oh my god. Then there is no need for this court to continue any further. Mr. Matt Ongard's innocence has been clearly demonstrated. Is it over? Have we found the truth at last? What's wrong, Phoenix? Usually the real killer confesses his or her guilt. And now that I think about it, this is the first time someone hasn't. Now then, I would like to hand down my verdict for Mr. Matt Ongard. Oh. Your Honour, the prosecution feels that it would be premature to pass down a verdict at this time. What? The reason is quite simple. This witness has yet to speak the absolute real truth. The absolute real truth. What are you? Witness, don't you understand yet? Huh? I don't know who planted this silly idea in your head, but as long as you protect yourself through your silence, Matt Ongard will go free, and in his place, you will become the guilty party. That's a lie. I don't believe you. What? I was told if I spoke then it would be all over, and Matt would never be declared guilty. What in the world is she talking about? Has she lost it? I can't speak about it, I'm too scared. It's Franziska von Karma. Don't you remember Phoenix? Miss Andrews lives by gripping tightly onto the words of another, because she doesn't have the strength to believe in herself. Then, right now, Miss Andrews is... Yesterday she was tossed a lifesaver by Miss von Karma. Don't say a word, no matter what happens. If you do, Matt Ongard will be acquitted. Miss Andrews undyingly believes in those words right now and is clinging onto them. And what should we do? This is the first time I've ever come across anything like this. But Miss Andrews has to be the killer, right? All we have to do now is get our not guilty. That is my only priority. It wasn't me. I'm begging you. Please believe me. I didn't kill Juan. Help, please. Someone help me. Oh, damn. Mr. Wright. Yes, Your Honour? The court can't continue on like this. Therefore, I'd like to hear what you intend to do. What I intend to do? What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to say? Right, I suggest you think very carefully about this. Think about what this witness did, and what she did not do. Think about who is the real mastermind behind this crime. Who's the real mastermind? Isn't that obvious? There's no one else it could be except the woman crying over there, right? Come now, what will you do? What kind of man are you, Mr. Phoenix Wright? Force her to testify. I have to win a complete acquittal today. There's no way around that. But I can't bring myself to do it like this. Not when she's making a face like that. Miss Andrews, I would like to know what you are really hiding. Mr. Wright, are you sure you know what you're doing? Sure, Mr. Ongard would get an acquittal, but in his place you would be found guilty. Is this how you really want this trial to end? Be quiet, how dare you? You're trying to trick me. Oh my god. Ugh. That's enough. I commend you for trying, Mr. Edgeworth. However, it's clear that the defense's theory is the truth. You're wrong. Such a shame. I had hoped things wouldn't come to this. However... What is it, Mr. Edgeworth? Miss Andrews, since you absolutely refuse to testify, it falls on my shoulders to disclose this to the court. Stop. Oh, Mr. Edgeworth. This witness... How should I put this? She has an illness. What? And because of this illness, she has tried to commit suicide in the past. Stop. Please stop. No matter how much you want to hide it, it's no use. I have the evidence right here. That's the second part of the suicide report. The attempted suicide report. What will you do now, witness? You know what I am about to do, don't you? I will now reveal to the court the true nature of the pitiful woman known as Adrian Andrews. The secret of her codependent nature. Having other people know about it scares her more than anything else in the world. Please stop. I beg you. If people find out, I'll... If you're going to say you would choose death, that is of no concern to me. Ooh, this is dirty. Edgeworth, how can you be so cold? However, before you die, I will pull the truth from your breathing lips. No matter what I have to do. Jesus. So will you tell the court yourself, or shall I? Either is fine with me. I'll talk, but please, help me. Oh dear. I feel really sorry for her. Nothing matters anymore. Oh god, this testimony just seems wrong. My crime. When I first saw him, I really thought he had fainted. Honest. When I realised he was dead, that was when I formulated my plan. Once I made sure there was no one in the hallway, I made a dash back to Matt's room. And then, I stabbed Juan's dead body with the knife, and ripped off the button. Just when I finished and was returning to Matt's room, I had a bit of an inconvenience. And that's why I ended up using the Nickel Samurai costume. Okay. Stab the body with the knife, but why would you do that? Isn't it obvious? To pin the blame on a certain person. A certain cowardly man. Who... What do you mean by all of this? It might take this court a little while to understand, but... This is the truth. The real killer is Matt. That scumbag of a man. I'll never forgive him. He's trying to escape his guilt again, just like last time. Last time? So Miss Andrews stabbed the victim Wonka Reader in the chest with the knife. However, she didn't do it with murder in mind. She did it with the intent of framing Matt Ongard for the murder. And this is her crime. What? How is this possible? I mean, wasn't Miss Andrews supposed to be the real murderer? Mr. Wright, please get over your shock and commence the cross-examination. I mean, I don't see... Like, there's nothing I could even... notice. I guess the only thing I can do is press everything. But you could tell from the state the room was in that there must have been a fight. Are you telling the truth when you say you did not know he was dead? He had a scarf tied around his neck, but that scarf is a part of the Jammin' Ninja costume, so I didn't think anything about it was strange. His head was also tilted down a bit, so I couldn't see his face that well. That's why I thought I'd wake him up, and went to pour the juice. What is this plan you had? I knew right away the murderer was Matt. I knew because, one, he was going to expose Matt's weakest weak point to the world. So Matt did this to stop Juan and silence him for good. That's when I thought I should forge some evidence and pin this crime on Matt. So the forged pieces of evidence were the knife and the button. The first thing that came to mind was to plant the knife. Ah. That was so you could get the knife, correct? The knife Matt used at dinner had his fingerprints all over it. I thought if I used that, then the police would certainly turn their eyes toward him. Matt was napping with his costume on at the time. I flipped him, took the knife, and returned to the scene of the crime. Then I stabbed Juan's dead body with a knife and ripped off the button. So, you were the one to stab the victim with that knife. It gives me goosebumps to think about it now. What a horrible thing I did. But at the time I couldn't control my own body. It moved on its own. Then when I stabbed Juan's dead body, I suddenly realised something. If I used the button somehow, I could make Matt look even more suspect. So you thought to rip one of the buttons off and then plant it in Mr. Ongard's Hakama? Yes, that's what I had planned to do. But things never go that smoothly, do they? Had a bit of an inconvenience. An inconvenience? There was a woman with a camera at the ready, loitering in the hallway. I'm willing to bet my spikes it was Lotta. There's also a woman with a ray gun at the ready, pacing back and forth. That's Miss Oldbag for you. I'd already been caught and made into a big scoop for a certain weekly tabloid once, so I couldn't very well go out looking like myself and get caught again. Ah. And that's why I ended up using the samurai costume. Nickel samurai costume. Oh dear. You were the one who prepared that costume, weren't you? Yes, I took it from Global Studios. I also put it into Juan's guitar case the day before the award ceremony. You did this in preparation for the press conference, correct? Yes, Juan wanted to wear that costume and hold a press conference in it. He was going to disclose Matt's big secret there. But what is this secret? That I don't know. Anyway, I thought that if I were to leave Juan's room in the Nickel Samurai costume, then people would think that Matt was the real murderer. I was very careful not to leave any fingerprints when I opened the guitar case. I absolutely did not want anyone to know about the costume. Ah. I think we've heard enough. So, after that, you went back to Mr. Ongard's room and planted the button. Into Matt's Hakama? Yes. After that, I folded up the costume I was wearing and put it into a bag. Then I snuck it out of the hotel and got rid of it. My word. What does all this mean? Mr. Edgeworth, is it? The real criminal is Matt Ongard. Yesterday, that woman prosecutor sat me down for a talk. Franziska, huh? She said that I should, under no circumstances, confess to what I had done. That if I just kept quiet, then Matt would be found guilty for sure. I had no choice but to believe in her words. Lots of dots. What this witness has done is clearly unlawful. However, as long as her testimony stands, we can be certain she is not the real killer. But wait, Your Honor. The defense still... oh dear. Right. It's pointless. At this point in time, it is not possible to indict Miss Andrews on anything. Yes, exactly. There isn't a single piece of evidence that points to her as the murderer. The cross-examination of the witness is over, and so is today's trial. You couldn't establish that the witness was the culprit. Please let it go, Mr. Wright. But... Mr. Edgeworth, please place Miss Andrews under arrest for further questioning. Understood, Your Honor. The prosecution will arrange for her detention immediately. That's all. Court is adjourned for today. Oh no. Oh no. Oh wow. That's a really interesting sprite. It's one we've never seen before, I don't think. Today's trial, it's over. And I didn't win an acquittal. Witness, would you mind if I asked you something? Edgeworth. What is it? Before you leave court today, I wondered if I might look at one thing. The card in your hand. It's had my interest for quite some time now. What exactly is it? Oh, this? Mr. Wright also asked me about this. Although I didn't remember at the time, you asked me about it, Mr. Wright. I remember just now. I found this in the room on that day. The room? That day? Yes. Is it on the table? I found this card when I discovered Juan's body. It was lying there right next to him. You found that card next to the victim's body. I suppose I must have unconsciously slipped it into my pocket. But it's not as if this card has any relevance to Juan's murder, right? Yeah, I guess not. But it's still a strange card, if you ask me. But as far as a clue to this case, I don't see why. Hold it. Oh! Witness that card! Give it to me! Hurry! Edgeworth? You have any idea what you have stupidly yet inadvertently done? This... I can't believe you hid this from me all this time. I didn't mean to. What is this all about? I've never seen such an emotional Edgeworth in my entire life. That card. What in the world is it? And what does it mean? We're gonna find out. Oh, you fucking serious? Oh, dick. What an arse. Oh, that was awful. I thought we would have actually found out, but no. Guess not. Dick bag. Whatever. Either way, that is going to be the end of this session. I've wrapped up the trial, so next session is going to be the investigation, and then it'll be the final session. Maybe. I'm not entirely sure how the final trial will go, and how long it will be. If it's 2 hours, then it's not too bad. But yeah, that's going to be the end of this session. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed. And until next time, take care.